day fury as cricketer Steve Smith joins the date debate. Queues for cheap petrol as Brisbane is named the most expensive capital city for fuel. And an Oscars snub for Aussie Barbie Margot Robbie.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Sharon Gadella and Max Butcher.
Good evening. Tropical cyclone Kirrily has officially formed off the North Queensland coast. Authorities are warning communities to prepare now and not be complacent. Half a metre of rain could be dumped on the region, causing widespread flooding.
Preparing for a double disaster.
Hey, hello, how you going?
Police going door to door in Saunders Beach. Towns around Townsville are likely to be cut off for days.
Yeah, we'll stay. We're good for isolation, good 10 days, we're prepared, plenty of water.
In Kungalla, Shirley is staying too.
But just be prepared for those prolonged periods of isolation out here, as you'd probably already be aware in the localised flooding.
Many, though, have already left.
People in North and Far North Queensland should get ready now.
They are. After a 6-month renovation, this Townsville pub was due to open this week. Instead, staff have been sandbagging.
The biggest risk for us is the flood risk, water coming into the venue.
On Magnetic Island, backpackers hoping for sun got a cyclone warning instead.
Still better than English weather.
Trying to get a tan.
They left on one of the last boats before services stopped.
We were like, well, we've got to get off, otherwise we'll be stuck there and miss our flights.
John Durand is heading into the storm, preparing to ride out the cyclone on his boat.
It'll be more noisy than anything else.
This boat is already high and dry, and its owner is hoping it'll stay that way.
Just making the hatches a bit stronger for the wind that's coming.
Tropical cyclone Kirrily was named late this afternoon. It has intensified more slowly but is moving more quickly than previously forecast. Kirrily is likely to cross the coast between Cardwell and Bowen as a Category 2 system.
Category 2 cyclones can see winds strong enough to cause minor house damage, produce significant damage to signs, fall down trees, so even quite large trees, and have damage to caravans as well, and very significant risk of power failure with those really strong winds.
It'll also bring plenty of rain to already saturated catchments.
And the idea that another extreme weather event is going to hit them breaks your heart. They're resilient, and they're showing that.
The Weather Bureau warns it will be prolonged and widespread.
We're preparing for both the cyclone and the flooding event that may follow it.
Areas between Innisfail and St Lawrence are likely to experience heavy rainfall, leading to flash flooding from early Thursday.
In Ayr, the sandbagging station is the hottest spot in town.
About living up here, I suppose, you just got to be prepared. It is the season, so yeah, just do what you can, get ready.
Locals have filled 6 truckloads of sand into sandbags, readying themselves for Kirrily.
The community is proving they're resilient. They're looking after themselves, they're looking after their family, they're looking after their neighbours.
There's concern for crops in Bowen. Carl Walker has moved more than $1 million worth of equipment into his shed.
If you've got plastic in the ground, plastic plants, and there's not much you can do about that, you just got to cross your fingers and hope the wind doesn't destroy them.
He's been through it all before.
And Debbie, we lost this packing shed. We lost the house across the road. We lost some of my house there, some sheds. We lost all our crops.
100 extra emergency services personnel have been deployed to this region, including reinforcements from New South Wales and Victoria. Swift water rescue crews are on standby. Electricity workers are ready to roll and hospitals are prepared too.
We are very good at making sure that we evacuate any very vulnerable patients from affected hospitals early, as well as working with aged care centres.
In the Whitsundays, the wind is already picking up.
Tropical cyclone impacts are likely to begin from tonight, particularly in the Whitsunday Islands.
Shops and restaurants in Airlie Beach have been secured and supplies sought.
Went to the bottle last night, so we got done all the serious preparations well in advance.
Hopefully they're still celebrating.
Cheers guys, cyclone party.
Once Kirrily has passed. Now, as Tropical Cyclone Kirrily makes her way to the coast, it's the islands here in the Whitsundays that will feel her impact first, with damaging 120 km/h wind gusts. This region has already clocked a 76 km/h gust. As residents and guests on those islands are being warned to be prepared to be cut off for potentially several days, as this system will compromise air and sea travel. From midday tomorrow, the Townsville airport will be closed, and as a precaution, in the North Queensland impact zone, more than 100 schools will also be closed.
Sally Guite in Ellie Beach. Let's go to Anna McGraw, who's in Kungalla for us tonight. This is one of those coastal towns that's likely to be cut off. Anna, how many have already left?
Well, Max, police have spent the day door-knocking the residents here in Kungalla, urging them to either leave or warning them of the risks if they have chosen to stay. Now, dozens have decided to pack up and leave, preparing their homes before they go. Now, this community, as well as Saunders Beach north of Townsville and Gunlow to the southwest of the city, these three communities have been issued a watch and act cyclone warning, being urged to prepare to isolate if they have chosen to stay in their homes. Now, it's not particularly the cyclone or the wind gusts themselves that are the biggest concern for these communities, but it's that extreme amount of rainfall that we are expecting over the next 24 to 48 hours with this weather system. Now, this community was cut off for about 3 weeks during Cyclone Yasi, and they are preparing again to potentially be cut off for at least a week.
I think everyone now's got fuel and water, enough for like 3 or 4 days. Some blokes people have got enough fuel for their generators for a week or more. So we're sort of used to this.
Now, the only way in and out of these communities, if they are cut off by floodwaters, will be by boat for those essential items. So the locals here, they tell me they are used to this weather. This is North Queensland, of course, but they are certainly preparing for the worst, but Max hoping for the very best.
Absolutely. Well, Anna McGraw for us in Kungalla tonight. So, Tony Auden, despite taking a while to be named, the impacts on the coast will still be similar.
Yes, Max, Cyclone Kirrily being named just an hour ago was mostly a formality. We've actually had gale force winds around the southern half of the system overnight. They just didn't wrap far enough around that system to technically reach that cyclone classification. The cloud has continued to build around the system all day, showing that expected strengthening trend. Here we can see the wind field around Kirrily with those damaging wind gusts in excess of 90 km/h, possible around the central coast and Herbert and Burdekin coast into overnight and tomorrow's hours. The track until landfall is still holding steady. Kirrily is expected to continue intensifying until that landfall late tomorrow evening somewhere near Townsville, and there is still enough time for the system to get up to Category 2 strength. Now, longer term, we do have a change. It looks like the remnant low should head further west now, closer to Mount Isa, taking the heaviest rain with it out there. It's not set to link up with any storms in the southeast at the moment. Sharon, I'll be back soon with the latest.
Thank you, Tony. Well, the state's southeast may not be in the direct path of Kirrily, but residents have been warned they still need to be prepared. Rainfall predictions for the long weekend have eased, but storms could still bring dangerous conditions.
Heavy equipment busy at work in Brisbane as heavy weather threatens.
We don't want people to be worried, we just need people to be ready.
The Lord Mayor lending a hand, filling sandbags at Lota, one of 5 Brisbane stations now open for business.
This could be a serious weekend when it comes to the weather. It is better to be prepared and then for it to be an anticlimax than for no one to expect it.
Rainfall predictions have eased in the southeast, with Kirrily now expected to track west, a change welcomed by growers in the Gold Coast region desperate to dry out.
Some of the cane is just on the point of recovery. The worst thing that could happen would be for rain now.
Falls are still forecast, around 100 millimetres for Brisbane over the holiday weekend, possibly more.
Any shower, storm activity that we see could still produce heavy rainfall that leads to flash flooding.
With a chance still of a very wet long weekend, dam levels in the southeast are being closely monitored. Already, water has been sent here to Wivenhoe from Somerset Dam to give the system a buffer to receive what could be coming.
They all remain well within a manageable range. There is plenty of room in the dams at this stage.
With the stage set for Kirrily's big weekend. Joel Dry, 7 News.
Anthony Albanese has just unveiled his tax shake-up to Labor MPs.